What's good, everybody? Sorry about those technical issues. I don't know what happened. You know, we restream on Tuesdays for this show, and sometimes it's a restream problem. But nonetheless, here we are. I'm glad you found your way to the proper stream. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Happy Tuesday. Here we are for another episode of TAETRO Talks. If you don't know, this show airs every Tuesday on my channel and youtube.com/343labs as a part of 343 TV. Sometimes we have amazing guests from the music industry, other artists, people who make MIDI controllers, things like that. And then sometimes you all get to be the guests on the show as we are having a call-in show today. So I've already dropped the Zoom link in the chat once, but I'll do it again. Please jump into the waiting room, call into the show today. What's on my mind is talking about impressing other musicians, impressing other producers, and how we sometimes let that dictate our work, which I don't think is cool. And it's something I've definitely had experience with, something I've definitely witnessed. And I want to talk about it a little bit today, but I want to remind you all. Oh, Common Beat says camera angle's fire. All I did was move it a little closer. So you guys let me know what you think of this camera angle. Not to mention also, the studio is going to go under a little bit of a aesthetic change very soon. So stay tuned for that. If it's your first call-in show, please call in. If you've never called in before, I would love to hear some new voices. Not to say I'm not happy to take repeat callers, but if you have never called in before, please click that Zoom link and call in today. But yeah, studio might get switched up a little bit. I was a little bit inspired by the cabin vibes from the weekend. If some of you don't know, I went away for the weekend. Me and Joseph went up to this cabin in Big Bear, and I shot so much content. I can't wait to show you all. A lot of good stuff, including tomorrow's beat video. Oh, the TAETRO rant came out on Monday. What did you all think of that too? I have another one of those ready to go. I don't know what I'm going to rant about next, but that's exciting. There's just so much new stuff happening. Please check the link in the description. A couple things to check out in the description. First of all, there's an awesome sample challenge happening with 343 Labs right now. Our very own Max Wild played some sax for us at 85 BPM, and we've got that sample to download. I flipped it on stream last week, and that was a lot of fun. But if you all want to participate in that sample challenge, you have like a little bit more time, because I will be judging along with a couple folks, Nefertiti Gold and Justin Beck, will be judging the entries, and you have the chance to win Ozone 9. So if you need like a good mastering plugin, this is the way to go. And if you just want to have a good time and participate in the challenge, it's fun. Cool sax sample to flip. Just try it out. So you do that by joining the 343 Labs Discord. The link is in the description. DJ Ox says, I was going to buy Circuit Tracks, but now I'm not sure if I should just wait for the Push Mini. Well, we have no confirmation or no idea if a Push Mini is even ever going to happen. And you know, Ableton as a company is they're only beholden to themselves. They're a private company, right? So they kind of go off and do their own thing most of the time. So for the most part, I would not expect them to do something conventional, something predictable. I feel like if I can predict it, they may not do it. Okay. Yeah, all right. Well, it seems like you guys liked that rant. I'm going to do more. I'm going to release that on Mondays. So if we can keep that going on Mondays, beat videos on Wednesdays, streaming in between here and there, we'll get it going. But one thing I really did enjoy was going away this weekend and shooting a bunch of content, because now I have a bunch of content to get ready to put out there. It's not like a week to week. I have like a batch of content, which is really different. Hello to all my members in the chat. Hello to everybody in the chat, of course, but I'm just going to run down members real quick. James Murley, Drunk Bishop, Rashane, Taylor Deemer, Common Beats. Common Beats doing amazing things over on that channel. You should check out some of those streams. Superman, Jay Scholes, what's good, my friend? ZR, Uric, what's going on? Kid Appleborg, STKZR. I'm saying names for the second time, I'm pretty sure. My mom's here. Sorry if I'm skipping your name. Rashane is here. Hello. Welcome. DJ Ox, Crystal. Did I see Karina? Yes, there's Karina. What's up, Beisha? I saw Beisha as well. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. All right. My rant today is about impressing other people. Oh, look, my dad's here as well. Imagine that. Oh, Noise Arcade. What's going on? So I was on Noise Arcade's podcast, which I will share later today. I'll tweet it out and put on my IG story and stuff. But I was actually a guest on Noise Arcade's podcast as opposed to doing the podcast myself. So that's cool. Thanks everybody for being here. All right. Impressing other people. Pause the music. Does this work? I messed up my webcam, guys. Sorry. That's funny. Impressing other people, impressing other producers, impressing other musicians. I think a lot of people fall into the trap, and actually it's something that's been on my mind for a very long time because this is very common in music school culture, right? Like I went to music school. Well, I went to like a normal college in a music program. And what often happens, what was happening in that program, my experience was everybody was so concerned with impressing each other. Who was practicing the longest and who was performing XYZ at, at the performance workshop, who was like, who could play the most impressive thing, who knew the most about music theory. And what ultimately ends up happening is everybody just ends up making this garbage music that is so technical and so rooted in trying to show off that it loses the authenticity that music needs to really impact people in a passionate way. Like if you're into music because you're passionate about music, it shows. If you're into music because you want to impress people and you want to show off your technical skill, that also shows. And that's not to say that technical skill is not impressive, but if you are going to build up your technical skill, you should be wielding it in a way that still creates effective music and still conveys emotion through the art and isn't just there to get a pat on the back from some other people, in my opinion. And what spurred this line of thinking more recently was a producer named Taz Taylor, who runs Internet Money, which is one of the biggest like labels, groups of producers that is producing like some of the biggest hip hop tracks right now. He just tweeted out, he's like, you all are so concerned with impressing other producers that nobody's actually focusing on the music. And that's so true. You have this group of highly successful producers. Well, what it was he showed this picture of a piano roll, like two pictures of piano roll. One was like a very simple clip with like 4 notes in it and nothing crazy going on. And it was like MIDI from this hit song, the song that's currently on the Billboard charts. And then the second one was the super complex like MIDI thing that of a song that nobody's ever heard. And like his point was like, you all are trying so hard to make your music like complicated and impressive and technically cool that you're not actually making good music. And sometimes the best thing you can make is the simplest thing. And it's all, and I don't know why the culture is like that at music schools too, because oftentimes the professors and the teachers actually cultivate that culture. So I was writing like some classical pieces in college, not like classical pieces, but I was writing for like traditional ensembles, like strings and stuff. And what tended to get focused on the most in my composition lessons was not how the music sounded, but how it looked on a manuscript paper. So there was one page of my piece that looked like very complex because it was like this building of the piece. So it looked like, manuscript paper. Like I was also very impressed by it myself. I was like, wow, I wrote this and it looks super technically amazing. But the beginning of the piece, like the music I write, if you translated it into manuscript, it would look quite, it wouldn't look like a Beethoven piece. Like it wouldn't look like a Bach piece. But that's okay. I'm focusing on how it sounds, not how it looks on paper. But so much of what the professors and teachers focus on is like, does this look like, this is like, does it look impressive on manuscript paper versus not how it sounds? I don't really get that. I don't know why they cultivate that kind of culture. That's my rant. So stop trying to impress other producers, other musicians, Anybody who's worth their salt knows that, what sounds good is good. I don't care that you can play X amount of scales or play this fast or this technical chord. You hear a lot of people like into music theory about that too. Like that becomes like their whole brand, is that they know a lot about music theory. And it's like, yeah, but your music sounds like garbage. I don't know. When did it become about that and not about the music, I'm doing well, Juan Carlo. Thank you for asking. Roshane says, where can I get that rosé shirt? It's fire. On the Blackpink website. I don't know if they're still in stock because this took a long time to come. Yeah, I'm not going to name names, but there are some very prominent people in the music world. Maybe not so much the YouTube space. There's some in the YouTube space. Some make really great content around music theory, right? Like Adam Neely, for instance. Andrew Wong has also done some music theory videos, like very applicable, like interesting music theory videos, right? But then there's other creators that you can tell they were just like, their highlight of their life was being a senior at a music program in college. And some people like that are really famous, and all they care about is music theory, and their music sounds like garbage. I don't know what to say. There's some very prominent examples out there, is what I will say. Okay, listen. It's a call-in show today. Today is not our only live stream. We have an amazing interview coming up this evening with Alina Smith, who's a Billboard charting producer, iTunes charting producer. She produced one of my favorite songs of the year so far, Mafia in the Morning by ITZY. Really amazing, fantastic producer, songwriter, top line writer, has so many credits. What I want to dive into tonight with that interview is how to get on that career pathway. What does that career pathway even look like? Where does the money come from? Like all that good stuff. So I think it's going to be a good one. So if you can tune in tonight, the stream is already up. So check that out for sure. So many friends in chat today. Make sure you click that Zoom link. Like I said, today is a call-in show. So if you want to call in and chat about some of these topics, some of this more creative stuff, you want to get into a little rant with me, we can do that. If you don't know how the call-in thing works, all you got to do is click the Zoom link that's in the chat. You click that and you get put into a waiting room, so you don't immediately get put on to stream. When I do admit you into the stream, it's just audio, it's not video. So if you feel shy or uncomfortable being on video, you don't have to worry about that, because people will just hear your voice. And if you're even shy about that, just don't worry about it. It's cool. It's a good time. And we're going to kick things off with my friend Drunk Bishop. Let's get Drunk Bishop on the line, and let's see what we're about to talk about. As soon as my friend connects to audio, gotta unmute. Ask to unmute. There we go. Make sure you have your mic situation all settled. Yes, that worked.
Ah, dang! Finally, I was sorry. I'm new to this.
No worries. How are you? What's going on?
I'm good, man. I'm looking at some sunshine out the window.
Love that.
It's looking good in Florida. How's it down in Cali?
Cali is nice. It's the weekend getaway this week, and the cabin was like it actually had a little bit of a snow flurry. It was like pretty cold out there.
Really? Are you serious?
Yeah, it's like about 2 hours away or something. But that was cool. It was nice to like breathe in the pine air, and it was like a little bit cold. It was actually kind of nice.
Yeah, sounds crispy.
Yes,
crispy
indeed.
Air. Yeah, I'm sure did you get a lot of did you do some field recordings, stuff like that?
Yeah, I did a little bit of field recording stuff that I'll probably include in the next sample pack, which is cool.
That's all I could think about was I was like, oh man, I'm already picturing like Cabin in the Woods sample pack.
Right, yeah, for sure. I mean? I did a lot of stuff. Like I recorded like this 3-part video series. I recorded a couple 2-beat videos, a few short beat videos. Like I was really going for it. What's in my bag video.
You were busy out there.
Yes, it was like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, shooting content, chilling in this little cabin in the woods. It was a good time. I want to do that more.
Hopefully you guys had some time to relax too, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, what is relax? I mean, Joseph went for a hike up a mountain. I don't know if that counts as relaxing, but
well, at least he came back.
At least he came back. Yeah, barely.
Did you guys take Duncan or?
Yep, and Duncan went on the hike too, and now he's like sore, and he messed up his foot on the walk the thing, so he's like he's recovering, but he's fine. Yeah. But Duncan enjoyed it. Duncan could not go on the furniture in the Airbnb, unfortunately. but he's survived. He's just fine.
Yeah, but that's good, man. It sounds like a much needed good time then.
For sure. And I want to do more. That's what it taught me. It's like it's pretty accessible just to get an Airbnb for a weekend and just head somewhere that's not home. And that helps inspire the content even more, keeps things fresh, you know? And it inspired what I'm going to be doing aesthetically with my studio soon. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, really? So you're going to do a change up in the studio?
Yes.
Like all aesthetic? Everything's getting moved around?
Yep. That's all I can say.
Oh man, can't reveal anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be cool, I think. I just need to
awesome,
switch
man.
up visually. But what did you want to talk about today? It's not my show, it's your show.
Yeah, right. I'm doing an interview here. Like, so man, like your idea of like stop trying to impress other musicians and producers and stuff like that. I am big into my local scene. I have a lot of friends that are musicians, gigging people that, I mean, that's their whole livelihood. And I noticed like one of my friends, he's a prominent, I don't want to say prominent, but he's a talented singer in the local area. And he's not much of a guitar player, you know what I mean? And that's something that like, if you want to do it by yourself out here, you kind of want.
Right, you need to play like an accompanying instrument, you know?
Yes. And I noticed, man, last time I talked to this dude, he's like, he's got a guitar on his back and he played a show last night. And I was like, what are you doing, man? You playing guitar again and stuff? Like, not trying to bust him or nothing. Just, you know, generally curious about what he's doing now. And the dude's like, yeah, man, you know, he seemed kind of down about it. Like, man, I got to go through the whole, because he's played with some very good guitar players.
Yeah.
And he just gets these good gigs. And then now he's at like, you know what I mean? Like zero now.
For sure.
I mean? He's got to start like all over and stuff. And I got this good vibe from him, bro, because it was just like he wasn't trying to impress me with how much he was doing and stuff like that. And I had to commend him and like, dude, you got my support. Like 100% humble musician, because I see a lot of people like you're talking about, and it kind of irks me, man. Like when they either put each other down so hard,
totally,
you know, not constructively criticizing something, you know, like tell me one good thing you liked about the song, or
it's also like that dude sounds smart, because what a lot of people end up doing is like, okay, if I have to be the singer and the guitar player, that means I gotta like shed the guitar, I gotta become the best guitar player and the best singer. And what happens with that is like you end up like not becoming great at either, or you become like you know, like you spend most of your time. It's like you gotta just look at how much time you're putting in versus like what do you actually want to be able to do. And if
what do you want?
Yeah, what do you actually want to do? If you want to just be able to accompany yourself in like a very basic way, and what you want to focus on is your singing or your songwriting, whatever it may be, like focus on that. Like just because you're picking up the guitar doesn't mean you have to sit there and impress somebody and play like an awesome solo or play like some crazy finger picking stuff.
Can do it.
Right. Like, but just focus. Like that is the thing, because most people would stop themselves and be like, oh, but what are these people going to think or say if I pick up the guitar? What are these other guitar players going to think and say? But if you can just like ignore that and focus on doing you and trying to do what you want to do, that just comes and have fun. And you know what? People pick up on that the same way like you're picking up on it for this dude right now. People, of course, like pick up on that authenticity, and they can smell it a mile away. That's why you see a lot of these super like quote unquote technically impressive musicians do not connect with major audiences for the most part, unless they make some type of authentic connecting music with that technical skill. But the people who are in it just for the technical skill and just to be impressive, it's like a little bit of a sideshow act. It's like, oh, cool, you can play that solo, and then they walk away and forget who you are 2 seconds later. You know,
right. It's like seeing some shredder just sit there and go on the guitar with no like real direction or context. Maybe it might not even make sense to do that right in that moment, but
can you like move somebody with your music? Like you think about like John Mayer, who's probably one of the most like notable impressive guitar players of our time, right? But he's not just known for playing guitar, like he's known for like making really effective emotional music as well.
Right,
so
like
it's
you were
both
saying, connecting, like you can really connect to his licks, like you know what I mean? And that's an interesting thing, because sometimes less is more, right? You know what I mean? Like one of my favorite guitar players, Frusciante from the Chili
Yeah.
Peppers, that the Californication album. That guy went from this, you know, funky, you know, and playing all kinds of notes to dialing it down and serving the song. He played very little guitar on that album. If you
Right.
really listen to it, and it just blew my mind because each note he played, I was like, that makes sense.
And that
That's
takes a
cool.
lot of restraint to be able to have the skill that somebody like John Frusciante has,
Oh, of
and
course.
to not just let it all out in every song and let it all out at once. Like, you're serving the music, right? Like Flea.
It's almost like what you're not playing.
It's what you're not playing. It's what you have the restraint. That's where like your taste comes into play, right?
Yeah.
Like, sure, like I could make all kinds of music. I could do X, Y, Z with my instrument, but is that what
Right,
this
right.
moment calls for? You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's serving the song. It's serving the song. And a lot of these musicians like that, some of your favorite songs, it's like, growing up, my dad used to be like, "Ah, Nirvana, man, that's like 3 chords and blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Yeah, but they do it so good." And
yeah.
these guys can barely play, and they're just so awesome sounding.
And it's like,
They're
who
heartfelt.
cares? Like 3 chords, 2 chords, 1 chord. I don't care. If the music
Yeah, so
sounds
what?
good, if I'm moved by it, it's good, you know?
Dude, and you know something? And I stuck with that attitude, and I grew up, and I can play solos. I can write my own songs.
Right.
If I would have listened to that BS back then, man, I wouldn't have. So I try to encourage people too. Like, I even see people in the chat sometimes, like, "Hey, I don't really, I'm just worried about like my piano skills and stuff."
Right.
Like, dude, I cannot play piano for jack, but
Right.
pull up a video, get my coffee going. I sit there, I learn a couple things, and I just try, and I have fun, and I learn to like what I have talent wise. You know what I mean?
And it's for
If you don't,
yourself. You're serving yourself. You're not doing it for somebody that's gonna like look over your shoulder and say, "Oh, can you play XYZ?" You know?
right, or and it's just, it's not for likes. Like, I had to
Right.
kill that attitude a long time ago. Like, I'm like, man, well, nobody's really liking my song. Maybe it sucks and stuff. And it's like, I also thought maybe it's been a long time since I made a social media post, so it gets buried, and people don't actually see it because you haven't posted in a month. So
Right. And there's so many factors that go into like posting and sharing too. And just like that's why what we talked about, you got to wire your brain to feel good about what you're doing, regardless of reaction from other people. It's totally okay to share. Like, if you're proud of yourself and you want to share something and you think other people will like it, go for it and share it.
That's
But
what I
like
do.
anybody, like if you got 1 like on that, that's 1 more like than you would have gotten if you had not posted it. You got to think
makes
of it that
worth
way.
it too, man.
Yeah.
Because there's famous music I listen to a lot where I can understand that that's not a traditional palatable song, like the Pixies. I listen to a lot of Pixies, and there's tons of dissonance in that songwriting. Like, but I like it. I like the level of discomfort it causes and frantic chaos and stuff. But I can see how most people would be like, "Oh wow, this is really intense stuff." Like, but if they had never made it, I would have never, as an audience, I would have never got to enjoy what they had to create.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't make that thing and put it out there. I mean, you'll never know.
Sometimes it just has to be about the art. It doesn't have to be about like the data behind it, and that, because we have access to so much data, it's a good thing. It's a great thing, but it's also like it can be a struggle sometimes, because then we base too many of our ideas based on data or whatever.
Right,
And
and you get chained up,
yeah, and like a good example, like I decided to release this kind of like rant series, right? And I didn't know how that was gonna do. That's obviously very different from me like making a beat like on the beach or that's a very different style video. But I was like, just feeling like I hadn't been talking a lot in videos, like talking about my opinions, and I have a lot of them. And I decided, like, I don't care. Like, I just want to share these opinions and see what happens. And based on no data, that I had no data to say like this video would be successful. But I put it out and it was successful. So sometimes you never find the successful thing until you try it. Like, sometimes you have no indicators that something will be successful.
And you know what you did there? You made a decision. You took something that you knew you had. You looked at yourself. You said, I have all these ideas. I have all this, blah, blah, blah. You basically, the content was already there. You
Right.
basically just said, I could maybe do this with it. And you put that there. I feel like if a lot of people did that, because, man, I saw somebody earlier. They were like, hey, I think I'm pretty good. My friends like me. The 15-year-old, and he was like, should I keep doing this? Like, what should I do? Should I make a YouTube channel? It's like, well, think about, do like an inward audit, think
Yeah.
about all the things you know how to do and can do, and put it together and say, okay, what can I do with this? It's, go in your fridge, and see what kind of food you can make,
Right.
using whatever whatever random stuff you got, and
Totally.
and I like that decision making. That's something I'm working on lately, and um, you know what I mean. Just legit trying to put the pieces where they should go.
Yeah, and to bring it like that's something like me and Joe talk about this a lot. Like, we talk about things or do we do things? Because sometimes we
You're
get
right.
caught up in talking about things instead of just straight up doing them. And there's all kinds of things like starting this streaming schedule. Like, I for a long time was kicking around like, should I start streaming? Should I start whatever? And it's like, okay, just do it. Just try it. Who
Do it.
knows? We're not going to know the result. Yesterday, I was like, I want to switch up the look of the studio. I need to go get XYZ at the store. And Joseph was like, okay, we need to just go to the store and get it. It's like, okay, that decision is made in a day. I'm not contemplating it over the course of a week. It's like,
Right.
okay, let's go get the stuff. Let's try it out. Worst thing that could happen, hate it and get rid of it. But like, what are the chances of that,
Right, and that's a good attitude to have, man. Because I mean, that very well may happen. I mean, it
Right.
could have all any of this stuff that you've done could have totally flopped and not been a good idea at all.
But at least I
And
won't
then
wonder if it
no,
would
you
have.
did it.
Yeah,
Right. And something, you learn more as you fail, or
absolutely.
as this doesn't work, okay, I do this different. And it's just, you have to do it and try. You're
Yep.
right. Don't that was one of your streams. Are we talking about this, or are we doing it? Are we
Mhm.
pretending to learn?
Yes.
You know?
All right, man. Thank you so much for this call. This is a good way to
Yeah,
start the
dude.
show.
Yeah, man. Good
Yeah.
talk.
Good talk. Talk soon.
All right, later, brother.
Peace out. Thank you for calling. Yeah, that's a great first call. Talking about things or doing things. And how it ties back to like the original plot of like trying to impress other people. Sometimes we get so guarded. We want everything we do to be like a sure thing. Like if I'm going to try something new, if I'm going to try a new video type, if I'm going to try to make a new genre or I'm going to try to work in a different genre than I normally work in. Should I do that or should I not do that? Are people even going to like it? Like you're already getting caught up in like, are people going to be impressed? And that's lame because we'll never get to new art and like new ideas and fresh ideas if everybody just makes makes what they make based on data saying that this is what's successful. If we all just continue to do what we know is successful, then we never get anything new. It's worth starting something new. For sure. All right. We got more callers. Zaire, let's get you on the show. My friends, the Zoom link, I'm going to put it in the chat again. Jump in the waiting room. We got a few waiting. I'll be able to take a few more calls than I think are in the waiting room currently. Zaire, make sure you set your microphone. I'll give you 1 minute and then I'll throw you back in the waiting room. Oh, connecting now, I think. Great. What's
Can
up,
you hear
my
me?
friend? I can hear you loud and clear. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am great. Thank you for asking.
Man.
What did you want to
And
talk
I
about
just
today, my
love
friend?
the topic that you're talking about today, like trying to impress others and just to give yourself that surefire like boost of encouragement to keep doing what you're doing. I love the topic today.
It's prevalent across not just music, but other kinds of art. It's probably prevalent in people's work lives, like it rears its head in so many places. It's not just music. So that's why I think it's so universal for all of us.
Yeah, because I come from a small town in Fairbanks, Alaska, and I feel like um just in general, like we're in constant competition. Like your peers, like when you like are from a small town in general, it's like, oh, that person's doing that. Oh, and they just naturally start to hate. They just naturally start to like not
Totally.
root for you. They naturally start to like feel like, oh, I should be doing that better. And it's like instead of like bringing each other up, and we're all a community, we all come from the same place. We should be bringing each other up. Because like with me, like I'm not in Alaska right now, but all my friends are still up there. All my family's still up there and everything. And I'm like, I still root for them. I still still listen to them. They hit me up, I hit them up, and I give them pointers, whatever they need.
Yep.
And but it feels like vice versa when it comes out when I put out a song or I put out some project or something. It feels like they're nowhere to be found. Crickets and stuff. And I'm putting out music that I like and I enjoy and that
Totally.
stuff that really resonates with me. So it's like, it's always gonna be that like push and pull feeling of like who who's really there for you and who
Who
isn't. That's actually
exactly. Like who are your actual supporters? And you can't cater to everybody. First of all, if you're catering to
right.
everybody, you're catering to nobody. And second of all, if something resonates with you as an artist, it likely resonates with somebody else. You just have to find who are those people that share that in common with you. And sometimes it's not the people in your direct vicinity. Sometimes it's not the people you already know or the people you're actually connected
Yeah,
with.
exactly. That's really what I've learned. And it's like one thing that I've been like learning and like a mantra I've been using lately is like, don't tell everyone your dream. Don't tell everyone like what you're planning on doing because somebody's gonna like, crap all over it and try to like, do their best to like try to not make that achieve, whether it's subconsciously or consciously, they're gonna try to do something in their power. So you don't tell everyone your dream because some people are gonna try to destroy that seed and some people are gonna try to help that seed grow. So
Yeah,
just pick who you tell your dreams to. Like for a long time, I didn't tell my family I even made music for the certain fact that it was just like, they didn't resonate with it. They didn't resonate with like, not going to college or not joining the military or whatever it
totally.
was that I wasn't doing. And they're like, music, what is that? I always been creative, I always been like an entertainer, but it's just the fact of the matter is just like I didn't feel comfortable yet telling them until I was actually to a certain comfort zone where I could actually, hey, this is what I do, this is what I like to do, and this is what I choose to do for the rest of my life.
Right.
You know?
And I have a lot of thoughts on that. Like, first of all, like I never talk about what I'm going to do until I can make it like an actionable thing I can execute. Because I never want to get caught up talking like I'm going to do something that I'm never actually going to do or I can't actually do in this moment. So that's one thing. Like, I always guard that. Like, I have hopes, dreams, plans that don't get verbalized until I feel like I can actually bring them to action.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, too, like, it's two things. It's building up the people around you that you can bounce ideas off of, and that will give you an honest, judgment free kind of reaction or creative input. Like Joseph
Oh
does
yeah,
that for
most
me.
definitely.
Like I know I can tell him like a crazy idea. He'll tell me. He'll tell me without judgment, like that's dumb, or like help me figure out ways to execute it, whatever. And it's
Right.
not like he's
Yeah.
not saying it. He wouldn't say it's dumb because to put me down, or because he doesn't think it, because he thinks whatever. He'll tell me, he'll like give me a reality check, and I trust that that's a reality check, right?
Yeah,
So
like you're a little far fetched out there. You're in
yes.
another world right
Yeah,
now.
and it helps
Yeah.
ground me and make it a little more actionable and actually like refine the idea. It makes for a better idea. But then there's some people who are out there that will tell you all your ideas are dumb, or they because they can't see it for themselves, they can't see it for you. So they're going to kind of trash what you're doing in your
Yeah.
idea. So it's also building up that resilience to know when you're talking to people like that about your ideas that some people just aren't going to get it. Right? Some people aren't going to
Yeah.
get it, and that's okay. And it has more to do with their perception of themselves or their sort of outlook on what they can do in their own life that they can't possibly imagine that you could do X, Y, Z. Like, so many people rolled their eyes at me when I was gonna like to just want to pursue a career in music in general. That's an
Yeah.
eye
That's
rolling
usually the
thing.
response.
Yeah,
That's the natural response. Yeah. Like you want to be an actor, you want to be a musician, you want to be anything
exactly.
entertaining. Yeah. You
People
want to
just
be
roll
in the
their eyes
NBA.
because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
can't, because first of all, it's not one of these things that has a clear path, but this is why I do the show, right? This is why I've got that interview tonight, because I want to change that. I want to make the path as clear as possible, even though it's not like go to a 4-year degree program, then do XYZ, and then you'll be a doctor, like how you become a doctor,
Right.
right? It's just a different path for everybody, which is why tonight's interview is so important, because like Alina Smith is
Yeah.
working in the industry. She is like doing this thing, and I want to get into her story so that other people can say like, oh, that's how this person did it. What parts of that story work for me, you know?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That sounds really like up my alley because that's kind of like the question I asked you last time. Like, well, how do I how do I start making some kind of funds from this, you know?
Exactly. And there's so many
So I think that's
pathways,
great.
which is great. But yeah, back to the thing about like other people. You got to build up the resilience to know like who you're talking to in the room and be really committed to your vision and your ideas for yourself, because other people are undoubtedly going to tell you that it is a crazy idea, that you probably can't execute it, that you should just go get a normal job, or you should just go join the military, or you should just go do something more secure. And if
Yeah.
you are resilient and have your ideas solid, and believe in yourself truly, and you're in it for yourself and not to impress the other people, then you're gonna just hear that. It's gonna bounce right off of you, and you're just
But
gonna move on to do your thing.
I also hate to be that artist that cries hater. You know, that artist that
Yeah,
always cries hater. I hate to be like that. It's like, you know, it's like I'm not crying hater. You know, they don't know me yet. Like, how are they hating on me if I haven't established myself in anything or done anything to obtain some sort of hate? You know what I'm saying? Like, Drake can get some hate, you know, because he doesn't resonate with some people, or
right,
Lil Wayne, or Lady Gaga, Rihanna, anybody. But like, those are people that have established themselves in the industry that can obtain. Like, I don't like that because he does this, he's done that. Like, Chris Brown has a lot of hate. You know what I
right.
mean? So certain things like that. So if I have never done anything yet and I'm still trying to build myself up, and every person that says they don't like my song is a hater, no, I don't believe that. I think that just fuels me. You know, maybe that's just not your ear is not what I'm attuned to. It's
Right.
not what I'm tuning to. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
And you don't have the volume. Like you think about all those stars that you just named, they have so much volume of people tuning in and listening to them. So obviously, if you get your music out to 1 million people and let's say 1,000 people don't like it, like that's whatever.
Right.
But when you're a starting artist, like you don't have that visibility. So you're getting just music out to people that you know, like you don't have a big marketing machine of a label. Like these labels, what they spend time doing is figuring out like, what does a Lady Gaga fan look like? Where do they go? Where do they spend their time? How do they consume music? Whatever.
Exactly. The
And it puts it,
demographic. Yeah.
yes, it puts it in front of those people into, so they get that positive feedback from directly targeting all those people. But us starting artists don't have that. So how do we start? We go to our family, we go to our friends, and that's just such a random collection of people that probably don't listen to the music that we make, or probably
Yeah.
like they listen to totally something else. And not only that, if people listen to music and they know that somebody they know made it, they listen to it differently than if they just heard a song on the radio.
Exactly. That's what I always think about too. It's like, you know, they've known me since such and such, and they've known me since I was little,
Right.
and then they hear me, and it's hard to detach those two things. You know, maybe you
Yes.
changed up your alias and you have a pen name now, and so it's like it's hard for them to look at you as TAETRO instead of, you know, Nick. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And like that's just kind of how it is. Like I'm sure the big stars like have family members that think the same thing. And you know, we're all, and the thing is when you're in proximity to the person who makes the art, you also feel like you can somehow not influence the art, but like give feedback, right? But when I hear a Lady Gaga song on the radio, I'm not thinking about all this feedback I have for Lady Gaga because I don't know her.
Right.
You know, like,
Yeah.
but
Exactly.
if like somebody knows me and I play them a song that I made, they might have some feedback for me because they're talking to me. They know me. You know, it's just a different way of
Yeah.
consuming. That's why, like, when you're an artist, you got to get out of that small bubble that you initially have somehow. And that's what we're all trying to do, right? Get on a
Yeah.
playlist, get out on social media, meet people
Just
that
get
you
as many
don't know.
ears as
Yes.
possible. Yeah.
People
Get
that
as
will
many eyes and
consume
ears.
you as you present yourself, because people who know
Yeah.
us consume us as all the history they have with us, right?
And I think that's really because I as a kid I was reading a lot. So I'd read the Four Agreements, and one of the Four Agreements is don't take anything personally. So it's like that's their own perception, that's their own reflection of how they look at themselves too. A lot of
Right.
the things that people's criticism and stuff that they put place on you is also a reflection of themselves and how they view themselves. So it's like sometimes you gotta take it, you know, with the wind, and just let things go. You know, like, you know, your strengths, you know, your weaknesses, you know what you can develop to and what you can't develop to. So as you push yourself each and every day, you know, and you're going as hard as you can, you don't need to overbear yourself with the concerns and the thoughts of others when you're trying to get to be your best version of yourself, because I think that's what most musicians are shooting for, is becoming the best version of themselves to make the best content for themselves and the best, you know, product for themselves.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, if you're happy with what you make, you're happy. That's it. End of
Yeah.
story. If other people like it, fantastic. If not, if
Right.
you're happy, great. You know, like that's what we all got to shoot for. But the thing is about like humans is like if you're making something and it makes you happy and you're enjoying it, there's billions of people in this world. The chances are there's a tribe of other people that will also like it. So then the challenge is just
Yeah.
finding those people and not
Yep.
finding the people who are never going to like it. You know what I mean?
And I think that's a lot of pitfalls. That's a lot of like, growth and development between yourself and then also like learning the platforms and the algorithms that you're working with.
Yep.
Say it's TikTok, say it's Twitter, say it's anything like that. You just gotta be active in yourself and active on these certain things and really develop your own work ethic. You know what I mean? So it's like it's crazy that, we as artists, we do think a lot. We're like, oh, we don't care, but we do think a lot about what other people are gonna say about
Of
this. Like we
course.
always try to use the outside. We always try to use that outside ear when we're making a beat or we're making a song. We always try to get that outside perspective of like,
Yep.
oh, I wonder how such and such would listen to this, or I wonder how, and it helps sometimes, but then at the same time, you kind of get discouraged. And sometimes I've battled with it hundreds and thousands of times where it's like, man, why is this not sounding like this, or why am I not doing it like that? And the
Totally.
doubt comes and it creeps in, and it puts you in a position of frozen, and you just like sit there and kind of like, and then you got to step back and you just got to take a hiatus for a little bit and then come back and just realize that that was just your strength at that moment, but as you keep growing, it develops you into a person that you like you said, be resilient, and I love that.
Yeah. Zaire, we could go on all day about this, my friend, but I want to thank you for calling in. This was another great conversation.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. I love the great content.
Thanks so much, bro. I appreciate your support.
All right, have a good one, man.
You too. Have a good one. Yeah, we could go on all day about that. Hey, what's up, Mike Demon in the chat? I just want to be clear. It's not about I don't care what people think. If you truly don't care what people think and you're a musician and you want to make music, go make music in your studio, in a cave, in a bedroom somewhere, and never release it and never tell anybody. The people who truly don't care what people think don't have to put it out into the world. But I make music and I make content and I make art to share with people and to share my passion with people. So it's not that I don't care what people think. Obviously, I want people to enjoy my music, but I'm also not going to tailor what I make so that certain people will like it. So that's a little bit of a difference there. I like if I cared what people think so much, then I would just make the kind of music or make the kind of content that people are specifically asking for. Instead, my approach is make what I want to make, share it with the world, and find the people who also like what I'm making. Is there something in between there? Of course. But it's not so much as like, oh, I don't care what people think. When people say that, it's just like a dead giveaway that you haven't really thought it through. It's just not that black and white, you know? Hi, what's up? Skid Mark Stan, what's up, my friend, with that llama icon. Thank you all for being on the stream today. We have a couple more calls to get to, which I'm excited for. I want to remind everybody that we have a stream tonight. Joseph, can we actually put the stream in the Nightbot or just share it a couple times in chat? The interview tonight with Alina Smith is going to be really great for those of you who want to build up a career in music production as a songwriter, as a producer. Check that out. Also, don't want you all to forget that this is a production of 343 TV and 343 Labs. And if you join the 343 Labs Discord using the link in the description, you can join our sample challenge that we're doing, flipping a sax sample. It's a good time. Okay, let's keep going. I got Keshav up next, and then I see Noise Arcade in the waiting room as well. So I'm excited for that too. There's another stream today. Yes, Falguna, another stream today. Don't miss it. It's in the evening. Hey, what's up, Keshav? How's it going? Make sure you mute the stream.
Hi, TAETRO.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I want to say thank you because you're always so supportive on the streams and on the content and stuff. So thank you. I always see your name popping up, sharing something positive. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Where are you calling in from today?
From Nepal.
From Nepal.
From Nepal.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What did you want to chat about today?
No, you're talking about like why we should not care about what producers or musicians think about our music.
Sure.
It's all about how we feel, like how we feel about our music. It must feel, we must feel good about it, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So that's basically it. It's all about like, if I enjoy it, it's good. It's the best thing that can happen with the music. That's what I feel.
Exactly. And if you enjoy it, there's somebody else out there that's going to enjoy it too, you know? Because the
Yeah,
other side,
exactly.
it's not just about like not like it's about like, okay, don't try to impress these other music producers and musicians, but it's also like, how many people do you know that are not musicians and are not music producers that enjoy music? Like, so many people. I would say there's more people that
Exactly.
enjoy music than there are musicians. So why are we constantly trying to market towards impressing other musicians when people turn on the radio and love the songs that are on the radio, regardless of how impressive or not impressive they are, technically, quote unquote? Because a song can be impressive for a number of reasons. It can be impressive because it makes you feel something. It can be impressive because of a guitar solo. It can be impressive because of the production. But like, people aren't in general sitting around analyzing those things. They just like what they like.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
And like, to be honest, I'm so happy. I'm so excited to talk to you like right now. Like, I follow you so much. Like, I've seen all your videos and all. Like, it's so much to learn. I just have my laptop. I used to have just my laptop. I started music production just with my laptop, and then later on, I got the MIDI. As you the spin, the wheel spin.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah. So, and that was very exciting. I got the MIDI. Then I started making music. Still, I don't release the music, but still I make one. That makes me happy. If I'm happy, that's it.
That's if you can keep that mindset as you keep going in your like music journey, you'll be happy all
Yeah.
the way through. Like, that's all that will matter, and you'll probably make great art and great music because of it,
Yeah, exactly. It's all about improving yourself day by day. It's
day
like,
by day.
yeah, beat hashtag 001 002, and like gradually you increase your skills, improve your music, and that's how it goes.
Exactly, because imagine how different beat 001 is going to sound when you get to beat 100. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's so relatable.
And when you're doing that, when you're documenting that and you have those tracks, you'll be able to go back and listen to beat 001 and listen to beat 100 and actually hear the difference.
Yeah, that's so true.
This was a great
Yeah.
call, Keshav. Thank you so much for calling in, and thanks for all the support. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, TAETRO. Bye-bye.
Have a good one, my friend. Yes. All of that. The Future Soundbeat says, wonderful and amazing topics. I always said this to myself, why I'm trying to impress other people when I'm supposed to impress myself. Exactly. And this has a very practical angle. That example I talked about earlier of the internet money, like the Taz Taylor tweet or whatever. It's like, you're spending so much time trying to make something impressive that is not getting you anywhere. People are not listening, you know? And maybe if people start to listen and that becomes your crowd, then you're stuck having to do like tricks. You're basically like a dog and pony show for the rest of your career. Instead of making something that people connect with, you have to keep increasingly cut up. Like, it feels like a circus, right? Like, you go to a circus and you see like this sideshow thing and people like point and gawk at it or whatever. Like, some guitarists or like some musicians in general become that. It's like, hey, can you just come and do that shredding thing that you do? Can you just come do that? Nobody actually cares about your album, but can you just come and shred at our thing so people can be impressed and gawk and point and say, wow? So like, is that the life you want for yourself? And by the way, maybe some people are happy doing that. Maybe some people are happy to show up to a festival, to an event or whatever, and just shred on the guitar and like be that impressive thing. And maybe that makes somebody happy. I'm not trying to put somebody down that enjoys doing that. But just be very clear about what you want for yourself. Like, do you want to be like an artist like that people know for their work? Or do you want to be the guy that can like shred and that's what you become known as? I guess that goes back to that John Mayer example. John Mayer can shred for sure. But he also writes beautiful music with his technical ability, you know? Chrono asks a great question. Have you ever thought about turning this into a podcast? Amazing question, Chrono. In fact, this already is a podcast that you can listen to right now, and there's already a full podcast feed for you to check out. The first link in my description right now is to TAETRO Radio. It's an Anchor link, anchor.fm, which will bring you to a site where you can select your favorite podcast platform of choice. So it's on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's on Anchor, it's on all the places that you can listen to podcasts. So please, if you do want to take more of this kind of style content with you, there's the full-length interviews on the podcast feed, and then there's also these little bite-sized pieces of advice. Definitely recommend you check that out for sure. Let's go on. Another caller. My friend Noise Arcade. Speaking of podcasts, I was just on Noise Arcade's podcast today. The episode came out today. Maybe we can link that. I don't know if I can find it. Hello.
You hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, whoa! Sorry, I got the live stream on, and I was hearing both, and it was totally
got it.
What's up, TAETRO?
What's going on, my friend? Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. This has been such an awesome conversation, and I love what you just said about the whole circus thing, and how that some musicians can be like a spectacle for everyone else, basically.
Right. And what does that get you at the end of the day? Like, I don't know. Like, I guess you can get paid to go to some gigs and be impressive, but like, are people like liking you for you, or are they liking you because you can do a trick,
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a flip side to that too, where it's kind of the same thing with the internet, right? Like you'll see content that people make to also just be that spectacle in another way. Doesn't matter who they're marketing to, I guess, for lack of a better word, but like I feel like so many people get caught in that trap of trying to do the impressive thing, or the thing they think people are gonna like. And it comes back to what a couple of folks have said earlier of like, do what is authentic to you, because that's gonna attract the type of people who will be with you in the long run.
Absolutely.
Well.
And let me ask you, because you're a music school guy, did you find that this was prevalent in your studying experience with people like in the music program, like constantly trying to one up or impress each other, and like a culture of that?
Absolutely. I mean, I went to Berkeley. We're notorious for that stuff.
Right.
To the point where it's a joke, but it's kind of true. There's a genre called like Berkeley funk or Berkeley music or whatever.
Exactly.
And it just ends up being this thing where everyone is trying to do the same thing, but then better than the other person, or more complex than the other person. And it loses its feeling after a while.
Of course.
Where's that coming from?
It's just like this drive to be like technically impressive, and then the music just the what the music is actually supposed to be, the art just gets diluted because you're just so much focusing on the technical aspects and one-upping the next person.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Nobody's writing. What happens in that situation is nobody is writing music based on their experience. Nobody is writing music to convey their emotions. They're just in this academic world of like, how can I make the impressive? How can I do the impressive thing? How can I one up this next person? And that's just such a, I don't know. We talked about this a little bit on your show. I mentioned like the K-pop industry and stuff. And one of the things that draws me into the K-pop industry is it is all the skills that the performers learn as trainees seem to be very practical skills that will put them forth to being like a marketable artist, or like an actual like performing artist. What happens in American music schools for the most part is they drill these technical skills that are above and beyond anything you would need to know, and sometimes above and beyond what even sounds good. And it's just like we get so caught up in that. And I think that's one of the biggest differences that I see between the K-pop music industry and the American music education industry. It's just so separate from what's actually good music and what actually artists need to know today.
Yeah, I agree. And I think another big thing is when you're so focused on just learning techniques over time, you get caught in this box of applying techniques. And that can hinder your ability to just sit down or stand up or whatever you want to do, but just create and have something flow out of you, because techniques, while they're amazing and they're usually based on things that have worked in the past, everything needs context. And I can only speak for myself, but I had to maybe not unlearn, but learn to not always use techniques that I learned just because I knew them. And
Yeah.
that was a huge discipline and took a long time for me. So anyone listening, I would encourage you, like, now I just, when I'm writing, I literally open my voice notes app and I just start singing melodies, and then it just flows out, and everything usually comes out more naturally that way.
For sure. And I think that's what everybody has to find, is like the natural way. Like I used to restrict myself to like writing certain ways, and I just got over that. And we build so many systems for ourselves around the way things are quote unquote supposed to be done. Like, oh, this is how I'm supposed to write. This is how I'm supposed to come up with my ideas. And we forego what actually comes natural to us. And that, I always talk about this, but there's no rules. Like it doesn't matter. There's no rules. But so much of the education system is based on there being rules and you having to stick to those rules. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And what you mentioned goes back to a previous caller who was talking about John Frusciante and what a capable player John Frusciante is. And on that Chili Peppers record, like he plays so sparsely. Like when he does play it, it's beautiful, but he's not pulling out all the stops all at once. You know, it's like you're adding things to your arsenal when you learn techniques, but people try to like use everything that they know in every song, or like use a lot of what they know in every kind of riff that they play or whatever it may be. And it comes back to the taste thing, where your taste and your artist passion comes through is understanding where and when and what's the right time to pull something out. You know, you don't got to pull out all those skills all on one song. Like pull out a little piece of what you know and use it to its strength there in that moment where it makes sense.
Totally. I think anything you know or learn, you need to treat it just like a tool. Like if I'm hammering in a nail, I'm not going to pull out my drill because I need a hammer if I'm hammering in a nail.
Yes.
And I listened to I don't know if anyone here listens to the Jay Shetty podcast, but Russ was recently on that, and Russ is like massive and has so much success. And something he said that I was like, whoa, that's crazy. He talked about how he can just crank out songs, and he was like, oh, it just got boring. I started writing over beats that I don't like. And I feel that, because I think you need to, anytime you default to anything,
totally.
Like let's say you make 10 beats and you do them all the same way and you're like, God, this is like a formula for me.
Right.
I think that's a hint to just try doing something differently, like anything differently. And that's how you really hone that.
You see artists get caught up in that all the time, and then they make the same record over again, and then people say, why are they making the same record over again? It's because it became formulaic. I do the same thing with like my sound selection process. Like I have a lot of sounds that I kind of lean on and that contribute to my sound, which I really like, and I'm not sick of them yet. But also when I'm scanning through like my presets or my samples or whatever, sometimes I'll land on a preset or a sample that I'm like, this could not possibly work, and I'll throw it in my project and I'll try to prove myself wrong, because if I just always did that, I would always come up with the same thing. But how am I going to discover new things that way? Well, I got to try some stuff that I don't think will work.
Totally. And just to tie it back to the theme, right? Impressing other musicians and producers. If something works and you keep on doing it over and over and over and over, eventually it's not going to work, because people have seen you do it so many times. So yeah.
Exactly. You know, it's not the dog and pony show. Like those people will get hired to do the same thing over and over and over again, because they're not communicating to the same audience every single time. They're just doing the magic trick or whatever to an entertainment audience. But if you want to be a real artist, you're gonna have to keep your sound fresh. Of course, people are gonna come back to you for a certain thing, maybe, but those who really love you and support you are gonna like know you as an artist and show up for that, not necessarily a certain style song or a certain style beat or whatever. It's all important.
Totally.
Yeah, man. Thank you for calling in. Where can people go and find the podcast? Where can people go find you? I did put the Spotify link to the podcast in the chat, by the way. So I put that there.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Thank you so much. Anyone listening, you can find my podcast. I'll put it in the chat as well, but it's just on Instagram. I'm at Noise Arcade. That's NOYS Arcade. We've got an interview with TAETRO. It actually launched this morning. You can listen to some of TAETRO's insights on becoming a creator full time and kind of what the flip side of that is.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's other stuff there for you to see, but check it out. Hope you like it, and I'll paste it in the chat right now.
Yeah, we had a really good chat, so folks should definitely go check out that episode of the podcast. Also, what I was thinking is if you want to send me like a 3 to 5 minute clip from that conversation, what I can do is put it in my podcast feed and then link to your podcast, so people that are listening to my show are also going to go listen to your show. You know what I mean? Like give them a little taste. So if you want to think about that, find like a good like little clip, I'll put it in my podcast feed as well.
Amazing. I definitely will do that right after this call.
All right, man. Have a good one. Thank you so much for calling in.
You too. Thanks everybody for sharing.
Peace out. All right. Another good call. All right, we got a good couple more calls. Let's close the calls for today, but we are having another show tonight. Don't forget. Let me get Elijah in here. Perhaps a first-time caller. Oh, Falcon to give a follow. We like that. Yeah, a lot of great calls today. We've had some good conversations. I'm glad that this topic is sort of resonating with people. And hopefully you can go forward and sort of like practice this in your life and make sure you're just conscious of it. At least we won't always be able to act on like this perfect philosophy we have on how to be and how to be a happy musician. You know, we won't always succeed at that. I definitely don't always succeed at having this type of mindset. But if we're at least aware that this is a mindset we want to strive for, then as we move forward, when we have moments of weakness, when we're not so aware, when we're not doing so well, then we can at least be conscious so we can recenter ourselves. But if we never know where that center is, we can never recenter ourselves. Elijah, it looks like the audio is not connecting. I'm going to put you in the waiting room and grab you next if you can figure it out. Falcuna says, what were your thoughts before releasing music for the first time? I don't know. That's hard to say. I don't know. Now it's different. Now I can release stuff and not worry about if people are going to like it. I've released stuff because I'm happy to release it. It's not always like that though. Sometimes it's like with my new project FaceX, like I got to release more of that music and I'm still like a little trepidatious about releasing it for no reason. I just got to put it out. I just got to take my own advice, you know? All right. Who's this next caller? Let's get it in there. Bethel Living Faith Ministries. That's a long name. Hello, how's it going? Nope, you did. Unmute.
Hi,
Hi, welcome to the show. What's your name?
I'm Georgie from India.
Thank you so much for calling in, my friend. What did you want to talk about today?
Yeah, the topic about impressing others, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was an interesting topic, so I want to join you.
What is your experience with trying to impress others? Do you feel like, have you seen it happen? Do you feel like you've been in a space where you've been trying to impress others previously?
When I started and when I was in the initial stage of music, I'm starting music, I used to send my beats or my programming, which I programmed some of the music. I used to send to some music producers, yeah, like that. So then they start rejecting it. So now I'm not willing to send, and I hear it, and I used to send to my friends, and they are using it.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I get DMs all the time with people that will send me like music. Well, first of all, we have tracker review streams twice a month. So I create a specific space for that. You want to submit music, you want to get feedback, great, we have that. But the last thing I want in my DMs is somebody sending me like their tracks or whatever and like asking me for feedback. Like, that's not how I'm spending my time. I'm not spending my time going through my DMs and critiquing people's music. So that's like, that goes back to the idea of making sure your music is in front of the right people. Like, I'm not your audience. Like, don't send me your music. It's highly unlikely that anybody could send me a track and I'd be like, this is my new favorite track. So there's that. And that probably goes for most people in this chat. So I mean, like, on the receiving end, like if some random person sends you a track, it's highly unlikely that that you're going to feel for that artist or you just found your new favorite artist. So that doesn't work. first of all. Second of all, it's like, why do people care? There's just no point. Don't send other producers your music, like unsolicited, for sure. Like it's just not like that. Goes back to the impressing thing, you know. It's why I see some of these beat challenges, which I'm glad. Like this is why I do feedback sessions and not a lot of these like beat challenges. Like we do fun contests occasionally, but I would so much rather give feedback and have feedback sessions where people can showcase their music and get feedback, versus some of these like contests where people like are trying, like the Kenny Beats beat battle, like those beats all pretty much end up sounding the same because everybody figured out what sounds good, what people like, and everybody does the same switch up. Everybody uses the same kind of sounds. Like when you hear a beat that was entered into a beat battle, you can always tell that it was entered into a beat battle because it's basically not a listenable piece of music for the most part. It's an impressive piece of music, which is fine. Maybe people like that. Maybe that's what it's about. But like, I just don't care for that so much.
Yeah. No, I understand about that. Means no, they have their own taste and I have their own taste, right? So different taste, so different beats, different understanding about the music, and they have their own understanding and I have their own understanding. So cannot go well with our taste and their taste, right?
For sure.
And now I'm not. No, yeah, for me, I do music for myself.
Doing it for yourself. That's what you got to do. Thank you so much for calling in, my friend. I got to let you go because the connection's a little weird,
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the call.
Bye.
Have a good one. All right, last call. Super Chocolate. Let's get it. What's going on, my friend? Welcome to the show. As soon as your audio connects, at least. Yeah. Hey.
What's going on, my friend?
Oh.
Welcome to the show.
That's me. Make sure you mute the stream, my friend. How are you? No, don't mute yourself in Zoom. Just mute the stream and then listen to me through Zoom.
That's me. Make sure you mute the stream, my friend. How are you?
That's why.
No, don't mute yourself in Zoom. Just mute the stream and then listen to me through Zoom.
Delayed advice. You know how it goes. Yeah, the stream will be on a delay. So just make sure you mute the stream and just talk to me through Zoom. You will hear me through Zoom, not through the stream. I promise. Anik Goshal asks a question that too many people worry about. Who cares? That's my answer to your question. Can I sell it? First of all, you're not going to sell anything. Who's buying your beats? Second of all, you're using a melody loop. Who cares? Nobody cares. Nobody's going to recognize the melody loop unless it's like a very common melody loop or something. Second of all, if your first question is, can I sell it? You're already on the wrong path because if you're asking these questions, you are not far enough in your journey that anybody's buying your beats anyway. So Noise Arcade says that's a delay effect with a full 2 bars. All right, Super Chocolate, you got a chance to be the final caller today, but I'm going to move on in 1 minute. All you got to do is unmute yourself because I can hear you and mute the stream and then jump back in. Hi.
Hey.
How's it going?
Okay.
We figured it out.
Yes.
Amazing. How are you today?
Not bad. I was just actually looking at a different stream and I saw this one. So I figured you guys were talking about production. I figured I'd call it.
What other stream were you watching?
It was a Cubase live. This thing with Greg Ondo. He does
Cool.
pretty regularly.
Nice. Well, awesome. Yeah, we're talking about how a lot of musicians end up trying to impress other musicians and producers. I wonder if you wanted to chat about that, share maybe your experience or
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I'm like I don't know, guilty of getting distracted from making music because like, yeah, maybe I'm talking about music or doing research on music. So it's like a fine line between making progress and like doing work.
right.
You know what I'm talking about, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough to get real substantial feedback, you know.
Well, yeah, because who are you asking feedback from? That's the problem.
Yeah, I would think probably honestly just like my peers. You know, I'm thinking if I can get my friends, just like maybe my girlfriend. She doesn't even listen to the music I like, but I'm thinking, hey,
Right. That's why all these people are useless to us when it comes to feedback. You know what I mean? So that's why, like, for me, it's so much more productive to just build up your artist brand, your persona, get it out on social where people are actually consuming content. Try to get in front of people who, like, if, like, I make lo-fi music, lo-fi chill hop, whatever. I want to get in front of people that listen to lo-fi chill hop because those are the people I want feedback from. I don't want feedback from people who listen to hyperpop because they're not going to care about my lo-fi chill hop, and their criticism is not going to be that valid because they're not going to listen to it anyway. So, like, I was talking about that with another caller earlier. Like, our mom, it's great to show off work to our families, our close loved ones, like our girlfriends or whatever. But at the end of the day, they're consuming it through the lens of they know you. The sooner you can get in front of people that don't know you and that are actually into whatever you're trying to do, that's how you're going to get actual good feedback.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying about searching like some of these forums, Reddit. I mean, people that post a lot of stuff, you know, and I mean, by and large, I think that some of it's, you know, less valuable than others. I think the people that are, you know, doing stuff, you know, with music are doing stuff with music. They're not talking about music, how to make it, you know, on a thread.
Yes and no, because like I've got a guest coming on tonight for a live stream interview, and what's amazing is she's produced a lot of big name tracks like on the Billboard charts. And she has an amazing YouTube channel where she's like showing people how to do this stuff and how to write these kinds of songs and how to work in the DAW. So like those people are out there and are sharing, but you should be more exclusive with who you actually take the feedback from. Because if you just go on some random forum and you just have some random Joe Schmoes who are just kind of like hobbyists and don't really know much and just read a lot about music, like their feedback is probably not worth it. But like, that's why like I do a feedback stream, right? Like twice a month. Like people coming to that stream for the most part know me, they know what I'm kind of into, and they know what kind of advice I can probably offer. But if you wouldn't come to my stream if you wanted like mixing it, like complete mixing and mastering technical advice, because that's not what I do, you know? Like so you got to just know who you're getting feedback from and get feedback from the right people based on what you're doing. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. The feedback sessions are probably just as important as like recording sessions or mixing sessions. You need a feedback session.
Totally. I agree. Well, thank you so much for calling in, man. I appreciate you jumping into this stream from the other stream.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Have a good one, my friend. Music producer Ghost, thank you for being here today. I appreciate it. My friends, if you want to join and become a member, we are on our way to 200 members, which is really quite amazing. If you join now, you get the Space Sample Pack. Soon, the new sample pack will drop and the Space Sample Pack will go away. So if you become a member at the VIP tier today, you'll get the Space Sample Pack. And then if you stay a member when the new sample pack drops, you'll get the new sample pack. But if you wait until the new sample pack drops, you will not get the Space Sample Pack. So watch out for that. Music producer Ghost in the chat is hyped. Yeah. This is a good call-in show. I am even more excited for tonight's interview because it's been a while. Well, we did an interview last week. I don't know, but I'm so stoked to have Alina Smith on tonight. So the link for tonight's stream, if you click that link, you'll be able to hit set a reminder. Please do that because I don't want you all to miss tonight's interview. Not only that, and if you have questions along the way, I will, of course, interject them into the conversation as they make sense, but it's going to be a good interview for sure. If you want to hear from a real live working top line writer, songwriter, producer, Alina Smith is the one to check it out. Tonight's stream for sure. It's going to be a good time. And it's a little bit of an after dark interview. We're going to dim the lights a little bit, have a chill time. It should be good. And I know the time difference won't work for everybody, but nonetheless, hope you can enjoy it later, even if you can't watch live. Okay, my friends, that's going to be it today. Join the 343 Lab sample challenge. The Discord link is in the description. Flip the sax sample. Potentially win Ozone 9 from Isotope. And that should be fun. Josiah Smith, I promise all your questions will be answered if you click the link that Joseph McCaffrey posted in the chat. We're going to go find things for ourselves, my friends. Oh, Falguno, you got your internship tomorrow. Very fun. Let's roll some music here. My friends, the webcam is messed up because of my new aesthetic that I'll be having. So there's something propping the camera up over there. But look, you can see all these collectibles and stuff you couldn't normally see. I think that's pretty cool. My Kylo Ren helmet, Death Trooper helmet, Death Stranding baby. Original APC-40. Does anybody see that? Original APC-40 up there. Next to the Death Stranding baby. There's nothing in this shot that I can't show, right? Right. Hopefully. Yeah, my friends. Can I reach the top shelf? I cannot reach the top shelf. Unfortunately. Turn on the purple lights. Yeah, maybe we'll get some vibe lighting tonight. All right, that's it for today. The link to the podcast feed is below. I ran a poll, and like 80% of people didn't even know, I think, that there was a TAETRO radio podcast. So be sure to check that out. And follow that podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you to all my members who are tuning in today. Another great call-in show. Hopefully you were able to take a lot from this show today. Yes, it is, Juan Carlo. Looking forward to the convo tonight and the show tonight. It should be fun. All right. That's going to be it, my friends. This has been TAETRO Talks. Tune in tonight for another interview. Beat video on Wednesday. And that's it. All right, everybody. If you haven't watched the TAETRO rant, go watch it now. But for now, that's going to be it. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.